Yeah, welcome to On The Surf. This is the family. On this channel we're talking about boat stuff in general, boat life with kids, how it works with kids on the boat, how it works with dogs on the boat maintenance and boat restoration and boat repairs, and basically boat life in general. Please subscribe to the channel. It doesn't cost a thing, it's free, but it helps me out and keeps my motivation going. So please hit that subscribe button, give the videos a thumbs up if you like the content, and if you don't, leave a comment below, and don't forget to turn on that notification bell. Jag ska visa dig hemma här. There are a lot of different types of connections. You have this kind, I don't know really the name for it. That's for splitting cable or just adding another one. Just push the main wire through and put the other cable in. Take a clamp, press those together, and then you have a connection. Then you have all different kinds of press connections, like this, and these kinds that fits on both. Terminals, connections for, make the cable a little bit longer. But all these connections are bad in a marine environment, and I'm gonna show you how to solder a perfect connection. And as you see here, there is a hole. There is a hole in these, and those holes actually has a purpose. Let's start with a simple connection. Start by peeling off the ends. So, how to make a soldered, corrosion-free wire connection. Nej. Ja, sätt dig där nu så ska vi filma oss på. You take the two ends, or the two cables, twist them a bit, just push them together, like so, twist them back. Yeah, it's much easier if you don't have a child climbing on you at the same time. There. And now it's just to solder these two together. Forgot one thing. The heat shrink. I don't know how many times I've forgotten the heat shrink and solder it, and just had to solder, take it away and solder it again. And now and don't breathe in the fuse. There, it floats out nice and even. Now just let it cool. on. There you have a perfectly soldered wire connection. Super strong, will never corrode and make a bad connection. And then it's time to put the heat shrink on. Just put it over, apply some heat. There. The heat shrink I use has glue inside of it, so it makes a watertight seal. So marine electricity should use these kind of connections. Always, everywhere, corrosion free, and will probably last longer than the bolt. So that's when you're connecting just two pieces of cable. And let's make something else. Yeah, I had a little bit of bad heat connection because the tip was dirty. So just file the old craps away so we get new brass. Yep, something like that. Yeah, and now I will show you what these holes are actually for. You just put the peel cable in, bend it flat, take some needle pliers or any pliers that will go in between, something like that. There, that's one. Heat shrink. See if I can get the camera to focus. I really love these connections. It's heat shrink with solder inside. So basically the same as this, but in one step. I use these in really tight spaces. You can buy these in a little plastic box like this with different sizes, or you can buy them in bulk in the sizes you want. Same process here. Peel the wire. But the only downside to these is the melting point of the heat shrink is really close to the solder's temperature, so it's quite easy to damage the heat shrink. So I always put heat shrink around it, so even if that heat shrink gets damaged, I can put new heat shrink over it. And if you haven't put the heat shrink on and you apply the connection, then you have to cut the wire and yeah, you know, do it all over again. So I always prepare the heat shrink before. Then you just put the wires in so they overlap each other around inside the solder. Normal lighter. Apply some heat. Let it cool. Takes a little while to cool because you need quite a lot of heat to melt it. One soldered connection with heat shrink, and these colored lines is actually glue, so this on its own is basically watertight, but as I said before, I like doing it twice just to be sure. Apply the heat shrink over, apply some heat. There, super good connection. And I use heat shrink with glue inside, so this is 100% watertight. That's soldering marine wire 101. And there actually is this soldering kind for this type of connection, and if there aren't, I take this plastic thing away and solder it and heat shrink it. It's quite easy to get plastic away, just like that. And normally you can put this on the terminal, but now I will use this. Same here. Peel the wire, put the heat shrink on, and if you get a little bulge like that, you can make it a little bit nicer just by apply some heat. There you have it. One soldered terminal connection. Put the heat shrink on. There. But that's one soldered terminal connection, and yeah, you can do this with all different kind. Yeah, that's soldering 101. If you want to see more of this or in more detail, just leave a comment below and be specific in what you want to see, because there is a lot to think about when you do marine wiring. Yeah. So that's that for now. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you don't, leave a comment below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. If you already haven't, it's free, but it helps me a little bit, so hopefully I will see you next week. Yeah, and then it's some more things to consider when you do new marine wiring. There is a lot of different kinds of wire. As you saw, this one was the one I showed you how to solder, and let's see if we can make this work so you can see it. This one is a standard 1.5 square millimeter household wire. As you can see, there are just a few strands and they are quite thick, and it's bare copper. So it's a big if you do the wiring like this, you solder it and heat shrink it, there is a very low chance that moisture get in the cable, but if it does, this copper wire will start to corrode. And yeah, this is one type of cable. As they have few but bigger strands, it's not so flexible. A different kind is this one, and as you can see there is many more strings and thinner, so that's make the cables much more flexible. And this one is also bare copper, so this one, the cable itself isn't protected against corrosion, but this one here is a Rolls-Royce cable, if you will. This one is 10 square millimeters cable, and as you can see there is a lot of strands, and you see they are a little grayish. It's copper, but it's tinned. Basically all these strands are soldered. It's a layer of tin all the way around, and the tin protects the copper from moisture and corrosion. So this is a marine grade wire. If I would have put on the soldering iron straight on this, it would melt the top. So if you're gonna put 2 of this wire, theoretically you wouldn't need to add solder, but the risk of that is you will leave some bare copper. So yeah, put some more solder in. Yeah, so I showed you on that basically basic household copper because I had a piece laying around, a scrap one, so I don't use up the wires I'm actually using for the boat. Just saving materials, and material access is what it is nowadays. So yeah, I will try and find a sheet of how big your wire you're gonna need and put on here somewhere, just yeah, to make it easy to, you know, how big cables do I need and how much current is going through and so on and so on. And put a fuse on everything. In old boats there are basically no fuses. That's why many boats catch fire, because there aren't any fuses to protect the boat. And yes, you can put a fuse on the starter line. I will show you one actually. One second. So this is a really big fuse. This one is 300 amps. So yeah, if you have a small engine, this would be enough as a fuse to the starter, and you just use, let's see, one of these. So you just put that in like that, and then you have one more of this in this end, and then you have a fuse to the engine as well. And yeah, you have all different kinds of bus bars and fuses, fuse sockets and bus bars that's combined, that has internal fuses, and then you have also automatic fuses. Choose whatever fits you as long as you fuse everything. Yeah, so choose marine grade wire, solder all the connections, heat shrink all the connections, fuse everything, correct size of the cable. If you do those 5 things, you're pretty close to a perfect electric system in your boat. And that's the basic for marine wiring. If you do that, if you take a boat from, let's say, the 70s or 80s, you have done a wiring system that's basically 100 times better than it is or was from the factory. So that's that for cables. Let's bend some pipe.